Happy New Year, everybody, and Tony here with my tribute to Let's Celebrake from Popeye the Sailor, which was released on January 21, 1938. This was directed by Dave Fleischer and Seymour Keitel and was written by Samuel Lerner. I remember watching this particular New Year's special on Cartoon Network back in 1998. And this was pretty much one of the shorts that I remembered watching religiously every time it came on. And I loved it so much because it had a lot of wonderful highlights and it was just a whole lot of fun to watch over and over again. Yes, there's no doubt that I love how the snowy landscapes were illustrated and brought to life on the small screen. And let's also not forget about Bluto's and Popeye's rendition of New Year's Comes But Once a Year, and they just sang with such cheer and joy. And the horses also joined along in their song and even danced on both of their legs, despite them being four-legged animals. And Popeye's, Bluto's, and the horses' first scene was absolutely fun. But the major highlight comes from Grandma Oil. She was also one of the characters who broke the usual mold of having Popeye and Bluto fighting over olive oil, as Grandma Oil is that one character who I've also learned to admire, adore, and just smile at every time she was on screen. She definitely was quite the memorable one-time character, and I wish that there were a lot more appearances of Grandma Oil because she was such a sweet, darling old lady when she also tries to hear what Bluto and Popeye were going to say to her when they're greeting her Happy New Year. She wanted them to repeat what they were going to say to her, and then she kind of says something else. And it's also the way she's animated that also made my heart melt and just smile with glee. Just seeing the simple comfort of Grandma Oil sitting on her rocking chair and knitting. And she's just smiling while she's knitting by the fireplace. And of course, Olive Oil is included in this episode. And whether you like her or not, you can admit that she does have her absolutely hilarious moments. And the moment she's screaming and hollering when she's coming down the stairs announcing her arrival, and then she slips on the carpet only to kick it and complain about it being there, that was just hilarious. And there's also this nice heartwarming moment just as Bluto, Olive, and Popeye are about to depart for the New Year's party. Popeye stops in his tracks and demands that Grandma Oil joins them for the New Year's party. Thus, he approaches Grandma, wraps her in a nice shawl, puts on a nice hat, and even claims that she's going to be the belle of the ball, and this has turned into a double date. The animation of the venue continues to look absolutely awesome, especially with the flashing poster of the old man approaching the old-fashioned washing machine, and then out comes the baby to welcome the new year, all while being covered on this beautiful snowy landscape. Now that in itself is just absolutely gorgeous to witness and even take in, because viewers can appreciate how much craftsmanship and how much detail the people behind the animation of this particular New Year's special put in, especially to make it come alive with absolute beauty, detail, and total awesomeness. While all the guests are dancing to that lively music, Popeye even has a lovely moment with Grandma Oil, blowing his little horn at her and tickling her, and just seeing Grandma Oil laugh brings a nice, warm, fuzzy feeling into my heart and just makes me smile 1,000 smiles every time she's laughing. Even Olive Oil is enjoying just how much Popeye is tending to her grandmother, although Bluto is quite surly at this moment. Then Bluto has an idea for him and Olive Oil to go dancing, with Popeye and Grandma following suit. Yes, the first attempt for Popeye and Grandma to dance is kind of a fail, especially when Bluto has his frenemy side and laughs at Popeye's expense. But he doesn't stop there, as there's another highlight of seeing Wimpy dressed as Santa Claus, given the fact that it is the Christmas tide, especially considering that New Year's Eve is also part of the Christmas tide to all of my Christian viewers watching, especially if it ends on Epiphany or Three Kings Day. So Wimpy is pretty much dressed for the occasion, despite not being Christmas Day anymore. But at least it's nice to see him liven up the party and announce that this is going to be a dance contest for all the guests to acquire the chance of winning a trophy. The music livens up. Popeye and Grandma try to follow the music, although Bluto and Olive Oil are catching up quite well, much to Olive's concern about Popeye and especially Grandma. But help is on the way when one of the waiters brings in a stray can of spinach, which is pretty much the deus ex machina of this episode, but I'm not complaining. It's still a lot of fun seeing the conventions of that can of spinach being used to save the day, and in this case, give Grandma Oil and Popeye himself the mad moves they need to win that trophy. And this is the creme de la creme of all finales. Seeing Popeye and Grandma dance their heart out with their jazzy moves and all of that swing action. And even before all that, they even spin around like spinning tops before they engage with all that dancing. This was the moment that made me love this episode, let alone cherish this episode so much. Just seeing Popeye and Grandma have a ball and dancing, smiling, and having a great time was the creme de la creme of this particular New Year's special. And if that doesn't make you smile, laugh, and just jump around with glee, something might be wrong with you. Because this final dance number involving Popeye, Grandma, and everybody just being so surprised at what Grandma Oil could accomplish with the help of that nice can of spinach, mind you, was just an absolute treat. Bluto also gets his just desserts, not with a thrashing, but by being astounded at Grandma Oil's mad moves, especially with Olive Oil by his side being just as surprised, and Grandma dancing her heart out, seeing her smile and laugh with glee and cheer just also warms my heart and made me laugh with joy, glee, and happiness at seeing this lovely little old lady dance her heart out and even join Popeye in this wonderful revelry. And for their superb performance, they win the trophy and continue to dance the night away as it's 12 o'clock and officially New Year's Day. So this was definitely a great New Year's special from Popeye the Sailor. It's one that I remember with such fondness, joy, happiness, and the simpler times when I first tuned into it as a 6-year-old boy, maybe even a bit earlier when I was 5 when I first tuned into Cartoon Network. But either way, this was definitely a New Year's special that brought back amazing memories from when I was a little boy tuning into Cartoon Network and just enjoying the absolute heck out of Let's Celebrate, from the snowy landscape to all of that wonderful revelry found in the New Year's party, to Grandma Oil's presence, which is so sweet, lovely, warm, and so endearing to the point where I would love to see her in a lot more episodes. But as far as I'm concerned, this was her only one. And of course, the divergence from the usual episode of Bluto and Popeye trying to battle each other out in order to win Olive Oil's heart was definitely a welcome treat. And speaking of New Year's treats, if you haven't seen this particular New Year's special already, well, where on earth were you? This one is an absolute must-watch, whether you caught this episode on TV, never heard of this episode before, or want to experience this again with a lot of glee, joy, and happiness. It is a definite must-watch, a recommended must-watch, and an absolutely great New Year's special, especially if you are a fan of old school cartoons, let alone cartoons from the 1930s and 1940s. You will have a great time with Let's Celebrate from Popeye the Sailor, and I guarantee you that this one will fill you with a lot of New Year's cheer. And for those of you who caught Let's Celebrate from Popeye the Sailor, what'd you think of it? Did you really love Grandma Oil's appearance and presence in this particular New Year's special? What was your most favorite moment from Let's Celebrate? Did you also find the final dance scene to be the great creme de la creme of this episode? Did you also love how everything was animated? Or did you feel like this particular New Year's special was underwhelming? Please let me know in the comments below. Well, that's it for my tribute to Let's Celebrate from Popeye the Sailor. Tune in next time for my review of Verdi's Rigoletto, starring Brenda Ray as Gilda. So until then, Happy New Year, everybody!